Hey guys, it's a legend. Welcome back to this week's episode of the Real Quarantine Show. You know what? We've got a bit of a bonus for you because not only do we have a brand new episode, we have actually classic episodes. Because before we came to you, we were on another network and we played a bunch of cool shows. Andy, tell the people what you thought of those old shows.
It's all these shows are great. I mean, I always say, our what we do is for the love of the business. We've had great episodes. I've been able to talk with some of the guys from Puerto Rico about Puerto Rico memories. We've talked a lot of history. One of my favorites is talking not once but twice with the Tennessee stud Ron Fuller.
I mean, that's incredible. I would never have thought a year ago, a guy who loves wrestling history, that I would ever have a chance to actually talk and ask questions to the Tennessee stud. That was amazing. Elio, what kind of great memories do you have on this show?
Yeah, there are so many great episodes, and we've had a couple that come to mind. Of course, Continental, the Ron Fuller episodes, both times we had him on, as well as one of my favorites, the Madison Square Garden Glory Days.
Oh, yeah. And we've had some great people. We've had D'Lo Brown, Savio Vega. We've had some really fun guys. We've had some great old veterans. We've had some young up-and-coming stars. And that's what this show is, you're going to see in the future, is going to be all about that. We're going to encapsulate history. We're going to talk about topics of today. We're going to talk about the things that you guys want to talk about. And these little background, these classic episodes of ours, we'll go back, revisit some of the things we've done in the last year. And off and on, we'll be going forward with a whole bunch of new things. So we look forward to seeing you all. Welcome back to the Real Quarantine.
Hey fans, welcome to another edition of WPOV Quarantine. I'm your host, the legend T. James Logan. Today on Quarantine, we're going to talk some rock. We're going to talk some wrestling. We're going to talk all kinds of music. And I'm not alone. I'm never alone on Quarantine. I have my brothers, my two co-hosts here. One with a ton of hair on his head, another on his face. We're talking, which I have neither. We're like brothers here.
I'm glad you didn't say a ton on his back. So thank you.
I know all three of us will probably be guilty of this one. But anyhow, let's go over, first of all, introducing. We call him the gentleman only because we don't let him talk enough to be rude. We're talking about Elio Canella. Elio.
It's great to be here.
Great to be here. Hey, it's good to see you, bro. And you're covering up that hair. Look, you're the only guy with hair, and you're going to mock us by wearing a hat.
No, you know what?
Dick
I think
move.
he does that out of respect because we don't. So he doesn't want us to feel inadequate. So he covers his.
I'm doing this
because
for
he's
you
a gentleman.
I'm doing this for you guys.
Okay,
because he's a gentleman.
You know what? Dick move on my half for saying that. Dick move, legend. Dick move. All
Elio,
right.
Elio, you put the man in gentleman. I tell you that.
All right. I don't know where to go with the joke. It could be really long, and I do not want to get in trouble again with the WPOV president, so I am not going to say the joke that just popped in my head. Oh, moving over to our second co-host, the man with a ton of facial hair. You could probably sell it by the yard. We're talking about the lone wolf, Andy Anderson. Andy, how you doing, bro? Why are you trying to sell your hair by the yard? What's that about?
I feel that could almost be like something out of like Borat and selling it, but I won't even go into it with selling, but. Pleasure as always. Looking forward to
I think the last thing you need, Andy, is a stalker, a female stalker who tries to clip little bits of your beard hair and then make dolls of you out of your own.
Absolutely not.
Yes, that's right. I'm saying you
I don't have enough energy. No, thank you.
See, that's a good thing that we don't get stalkers at our age because we're just too lazy and tired to run away. Yeah. We're just like, oh well, send me whatever crap.
I'm not called the lone wolf for nothing. That's I live the gimmick.
Well, you know what, guys? One of our favorite topics. Let's face it, all three of us are definitely music lovers. I mean, we love wrestling, but we love music too. And we don't always have the same favorite bands, but we have a lot of common bands, and we like a lot of music. And one of the coolest things is the mixing of wrestling and music. And that's something that, believe it or not, I'm sure, okay, like Andy would probably get very mad if I said this only happened in the 80s, because regionally there was Elvis. You might have heard of Elvis.
Gorgeous George back. I mean, he was Pomp and Circumstance, I believe, before Randy Savage did. So
Right,
music-
right. But I don't count that. The reason I don't really count that is because that's sort of considered classical music. I'm thinking of music that's a pop music, like popular stuff that kind of came out of, like, even at the time, Elvis, when his little bits of stuff, that was definitely popular music that came in and grabbed the people at the time. So Gorgeous George, yes, there is music, but I always differentiate that because it was kind of like mood music in a movie, right?
Yeah, no, that's cool.
Kind of music,
that's cool.
Yeah.
When you say it like that.
When you think about it, though, it is kind of mood music that kicked this off to begin with, because I guess the more, and I'm saying this on a big time level, because yes, you had Elvis, you had people in Memphis obviously doing stuff, but when we're looking at a giant national level, we have to look at Sergeant Slaughter using a song that we can't say is a pop song at all, but somehow his use of the Marine Corps fighting song that he used is considered by a lot of people to be one of the first big time music. I mean, we can quibble of areas and whatever.
Yeah.
But the general consensus is he was kind of the first guy to really use a theme entrance music, right? And it's amazing how that translated all of a sudden to an explosion of music to wrestling. And I just find it so cool that when you look at, say, we've talked about them, the Road Warriors, using Black Sabbath's Iron Man to use as, it became like a phenomenon. I mean, there is not a Road Warrior fan alive, I think, who cannot have either seen them live or even just watching it on TV. When you hear that opening start of that song, there's the shivers. You know, they're either going to be walking to the rings like bullies, or they're going to be tearing down the rings and kicking the crap out of whoever's in there.
I saw them live. Unfortunately, they were Legion of Doom by that time.
I was going to say, it's too bad that, I mean, you know, nowadays we're getting like AEW actually forking out the money to buy, to buy songs. Could you imagine if Vince bringing in the Road Warriors, Legion of Doom, and having them with Iron Man and that kind of production? Oh,
that is insane. Even on a higher level.
What I found weird was the Bruce Beefy and Greg Valentine used to use Queen, We Are the Champions as their entrance theme.
But there was but even for like in Junkyard Dog, I mean, he was using another one by Dust. And I think that was almost kind of a period where it became, when they started to do that, because even Hogan using Eye of the Tiger. For Real American, it's like, oh, all of a sudden, well, we have to pay all these royalties, we have to pay all these fees. Hell, if we have Jim Johnston making all our songs, we control everything, and that's going to save us and make us money in the long run.
Well, I thank you, Andy, because I was actually going to bring that up. This transition happened for quite a while, where all of a sudden the big time guys, they realized, you just can't take people's music and put it on national television and not pay them. And then it became a point of like, how much are you willing to pay just to have a few seconds of a song to a group, and obviously WWE did not want to go down that road, and other people stopped doing it. And well, you're right, you had people writing in song. I mean, I don't know who the WCW, does anyone know who the WCW alternative was, like who was writing their songs? I mean,
no idea.
We know the WWE guy.
I think Jimmy Hart was writing a lot of their songs as well. And
once he got there, though, but
before that, I couldn't say.
And I don't know. See, this is the part that sticks for me too. And you guys have got to admit this. We've been to indie shows, and today you can still get away being an indie wrestler using a theme song from some band, because it's not really going to show up on a DVD. It's only going to be seen at a live crowd. That's not a problem. But isn't it hard when you really fall in love and match up a song you like to an indie wrestler you like, and then they get signed to a national thing and they can't even go near that song? Yeah. That could be a bit of a heartbreak. You know what I mean?
Well, it can totally change the dynamic of the character, right? I mean, it's if you're used to a certain song and then all of a sudden it's like, well, let's even use Hogan, because it's one thing to go from Eye of the Tiger to Real American, but then when he went from like WWE to WCW, and he had to go from Real American to whatever that other, American Made or whatever it was.
That's it.
Like it's just it's not. I mean, it's Hogan, but it's not the same.
Right. So Andy, like over your career, right? What songs did you use? Can you tell some of your favorite songs that you used as entrance music?
Early on, what was some of the stuff that I used? I know at one point when I was a white meat baby face early in my career, I was using Salt and Pepper's "What a Man."
Okay.
Yeah. After one of my first trips, and actually this can kind of tie into the music leaving an impression. One of my first trips down to kind of Tennessee, like the southern US, going to some of the USWA shows, being around the guys there, seeing superstar Bill Dundee, who we've had on past episode. At one point, I don't know how long, but when I was around there, he was using Queen's Fat Bottom Girls. And I loved it. So I can still picture him in the Louisville Gardens just strutting out. I was just a skinny lad. And it stuck with me. And so when I went back to Canada, I actually used that one. But one other one for there though was, and to this day reminds me of them, PG-13. So Wolfie D and Jamie Dundee, they were using Gangster's Paradise. And it's the same thing. Some of the times with these guys, with the guys coming out, the Louisville Gardens. I'm just, for the shows that we went to, the Louisville Gardens. I mean, it was one of the bigger arenas that we regularly, that they would regularly be in at that time. So to see them come out and just, they still have some of the spotlights and them just the thing. It just stuck, and to this day it sticks. So Fat Bottom Girls. What else did I use? I know I used. I know I used an Ozzy Osbourne song at one point.
I thought I heard you mention something about Kiss, Heaven's on Fire.
Heaven's on Fire, yeah, because that's always been, I think, my all-time favorite Kiss song. Heaven's on Fire, Highway to Hell. I
Want a New Drug by Huey Lewis.
No. In Puerto Rico, we had music made for us, and I was lucky enough. One of the bigger bands in Puerto Rico. They were called Via Alterna, and the guys were wrestling fans, and we'd see them all the time. There was a bar in Isla Verde, kind of right next to San Juan, called Loopy's, and that would kind of be our hangout after shows when we get back. And Omar and the boys there, great guys, and they were huge wrestling fans, and they had talked to a couple of the guys, were like, hey, like, we'd love to do entrance music for you. And the guys kind of like, oh yeah, sure. But I really embraced it, so I talked to them, I'm like, dude, like, if you're serious, like, I would love to do it. And he said, okay, well, like, what are you kind of thinking? And I said, well, I kind of want the vibe of he who we do not name. And he's like, okay, cool. So there's a song, and if you Google it, search it, whatever. So Via Alterna, called Welcome to My Valley. And they wrote that song for me, like that, like for Andy Anderson, Wolf Andy Anderson. So I actually had theme music written for myself. I mean, I was the only one at the time that had that, because the guys were using whatever else. Yeah. And I think when I left Puerto Rico, they gave it to they let somebody else use it. A Bison, I think he okay. So that, and then basically once I came back into PWA and Alberta over the last 7-8 years, Tom Jones, Burning Hell, and it's a bluesy gospel song.
That's the one you're using now, right?
That's the one. Yep. And I chose it because I love Tom Jones. I think it sounds really badass, but at the same time, I don't expect people to really know it. And
because I didn't know that was Tom Jones.
Most people didn't. And he didn't even do I forget who did the original there, because it's a blues number. I forget who did the original. It's like Johnny Coltrane or Muddy Waters or something. But I love the Tom Jones version, and I love Tom Jones. And it's just because as a heel, I don't want. I mean, I think it's a great song. I mean, and I love it. And it's cool.
You just don't want people singing along as a heel.
Yeah, I don't want people clapping along because I'm a heel. But I guess that's been my longest running song, because that's pretty much, minus the Ayatollah era of Andy Anderson. That's pretty much been my my entrance music. So yeah, I've had my fair share of songs, and now I wouldn't be able to use any of them on a big stage, but
no.
Yeah.
Well, we'd never addressed
Burning Hell.
What's that? It's called Burning Hell. Yeah, Tom Jones, Burning Hell.
But then the original was done by Johnny Hooker.
John Lee Hooker.
Oh,
There you
there
go.
we go.
I knew it was like a blues artist, but yeah.
Yeah. And I say we never addressed this on the show ever, Andy, but I am so glad you broke away from the brainwashing of whatever that Ayatollah stuff was. I'm glad you come back to whatever political, religious things you were going through at that moment. I'm glad you've come back to.
It was a period of my life, we all sometimes do crazy things. Most of my stuff is before the internet.
Some kids steal. Some people embrace the law. I guess I'm not sure what that was.
Okay,
for you,
I'm because we're recording this and you brought it up. I'm going to say this. So for those of you, for those of you that don't really know me, there was a brief period of time. PWA, Pro Wrestling Alliance. There's a wrestler, great wrestler, great guy.
We've had him on.
Yeah, Sheik Akbar Shabazz, and this would have been around 2000. When did we have it? 2014. Well, because what it was, you guys know I love the Iron Sheik and I love doing my Iron Sheik impersonation, and I would do it so much back. It was a case of one of those things where you do it so much backstage, and it's like, oh, like what if we kind of like brought this in front and out to the front. And again, like, we've talked how Sheik and NL Casey in the AWA days with like Jerry Blackwell and Ken Patera and those guys where they became the Sheiks and the Ayatollahs. And that was the thing. And I think we had one or two people that actually wrote in and complained about the character, about like, why was he doing this? But I will say that when the PWA brought in the Iron Sheik and Bushwhacker Luke Williams, and I got to spend a bunch of time with the Iron Sheik, I did my impersonation of him for him, and he loved it. So, I just want to make sure I have this on record because, we're on video here. So if there's any time down the road that someone's like, oh, well, this guy was doing, the Iranian Ayatollah thing. Look, first of all, it's just a character. It's wrestling, professional wrestling, no different than a movie. And the inspiration of the character, basically gave me his blessing for doing it. So
I love about that story? The most important part here is thank God you didn't embrace the bushwhacker, because God, hearing you talk in an Aussie accent would have just driven me insane. I'd rather do that. Oh no. Licking people's heads on the way. I don't know. This day and age, is that going to happen?
No, I as Luke, as we had Luke and we talked, unlike Butch, who actually like licked people, Butch always made a point of having his hand up and licking himself. So I did. Yeah.
Well, you know what? Obviously, music and wrestling are something that go real hand in hand. And, we've touched on it a lot. And one of the things we're going to touch on just a tiny bit, we're going to kind of take a bit of a swerve there, was we got coming up right away here. The former Sunny from Glow, Patricia Summerland, who has a lot of connections deep with Kiss. We're going to talk a little bit about the Kiss Demon Wrestler that showed up in WCW. We're going to talk a bit to Patricia, maybe talk a bit about Gene Simmons and her connection with Kiss. So we're going to get them on the line right away here. And, we'll see where this goes, folks. We have our special guest this week. We're talking about former Glow Girl herself, Patricia Summerlin. Patricia, we've had you on before. Welcome back.
Thank you. It's good to be back. It feels like yesterday almost.
It almost does. After the last episode, after we signed out, one of the things we like to do is sort of like a post-amble where we talk with the guests. And sometimes, many times, we're sitting there going, man, why don't we have it running now? Because this is like a whole new show. And one of the things that really came out that didn't get talked much about on our last episode, but really became prevalent, especially for Andy and Elio, is your connection to the band Kiss. So today we're going to talk some Kiss stories. We're going to talk a little bit about your involvement and even a little bit about wrestling and the band Kiss itself. And first of all, let's start. Would you say that you have somewhat of a relationship with any of the members of the band Kiss?
Yes, I would say actually, I can mention this. My Playboy Kiss, we really got up close and personal because I got to lay next to Paul Stanley naked.
Oh my.
Yeah, right. And I got to stand next to Ace Frehley naked. So you can't get any more personal than that. But I'm personally close with Gene Simmons. more than the rest. And Tommy Thayer, I know pretty well, who is Ace Frehley now. Yeah, that's my buddy.
Okay.
So Tommy Thayer, who is Ace Frehley now, helped me cast the issue of Playboy.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, right there in the room. I go, you're such a lucky dog. You've got 350 playmates to choose from. And there was only, I think, 36 of us that made the cut. Yeah.
Now, one thing I'm going to point out here in this episode is that Andy and Elio are tremendously big Kiss fans. These guys know a ton of stuff. And I have to plead ignorance here. I was not allowed as a young boy to listen to Kiss. My parents were very convinced that, and they were kind of hardcore Christians, that they were devil worshippers and all sorts of stuff. I wasn't allowed to actually listen to Kiss. So when I grew up, Kiss ended up becoming a band that I kind of just knew nothing about, and I don't know a ton about. And so today I'm glad we're getting a chance to listen to some stories about them.
There she is.
Hold the phone.
Is this a run-in?
We can
We're
hear
having
you.
a run-in
but
on the
see
show.
you.
Oh my goodness!
There we go.
We have a run-in.
What is it? What is it with you, Glow? What is it with you women in your bobs?
This is my bob.
Is yours blindfolded too?
I know. This is my bob too.
Really?
Roxy.
Oh, look at your bob. Oh
We
my
both do.
God. Wait, hold on. For you, can you see that? Bob got a little top hat.
There you
I
go.
love it. Oh, I
That's my
love it.
A little top hat and nothing else.
Impressed
Well-
me. Nothing else.
Now this is some dedication to wrestling. The Glow Girls are now doing run-ins. Oh my
Right.
goodness. Well, first of all, Patricia, since you know our Glow guest even more than we do, why don't you give her an introduction that would be befitting of her right now?
Okay.
Oh, wait,
So
wait.
everybody who's
Wait,
listening
girl.
now, tune in. It's Miss Roxy Astor from Glow, Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling, and also the creator of Afterglow.
Oh, and once again, we'll probably mention a little bit about what that is. Now, I'm going to probably sound like the biggest nerd in the world right now, but and I can't believe I'm asking this in front of everyone in the audience, but who the hell is Bob? What is this about? I don't understand.
You don't know Bob's?
Oh, that's so
No.
funny. Okay, everybody asks that. We say Mr. Bob, and some guys go off in a different direction. Thank God it's not that. We're going to keep this PG, but Bob is a body obedient bag.
Okay.
That's what it
Obedient
stands
bag? What is that?
Yeah, exactly. I'm more
No,
confused.
body.
now.
I know. I call it body obedient bag
No,
because he has to be obedient. Otherwise, he gets the crap kicked out of him. He really does. But it's
It's
body.
called the
body-
Bob bag, and it's that's how they sell it, as the Bob bag. They could have called it anything else, but I think the BB is good. It just sounds good.
Yeah.
The Bob bag. Now she's got a torso. I've got a torso.
You
they
have
have
only one. Yeah, I got the.
well, so, yeah, you too.
Yeah.
I've got bottom. I'm
No,
not
yours
touching.
is longer.
There's
Yeah.
hey, watch what you talk about.
I feel like we should be doing an infomercial for this, or like Bob should be giving us something for all this time.
See,
Oh,
that's
what
that-
is the point?
that-
What is
there
the
you
point
go.
of these things?
Oh, wait, you want to see something really cool? Wait,
Yes.
look at my wall. Do you see the Glow locker room?
Oh.
Yeah.
I
Yes.
see the kitty. I think I see Steve back there. That one.
Yeah, and I could have made a comment, but there's your cat.
Yeah.
Cat, that is Biddy, and she is not so bitty, but she's a little rescue that I got about a month ago because I believe in rescuing animals. Forget people, I believe in rescuing animals.
Well, that's kind of like in the movies, right? It's like an action movie or a horror movie, and there's like a dog or a cat or whatever the animal is, and you're always more concerned that as long as like the animal survives, I don't care if the people get killed.
You
As
know,
long as-
that's
as long as-
right. I hate to tell you is when I see, what about the animal, the dog,
Yeah.
the cat? Go back in there, save them. Damn
Yeah.
it.
But
Well,
Tom,
you-
but Tom, Bob is basically like a beat up dummy. So if you're practicing like boxing or any kind of like
Okay.
anything like that, that's basically Bob's like a
Okay,
tackling dummy.
Sonny?
Oh, okay.
Sonny, why don't you say you could talk about Dan, and then that way they can understand how I was introduced to Bob from Dan.
Well, you talk about Dan the man, the magnificent.
No, you
man.
talk about Dan, my man.
Okay, well, Dan, he survived open heart surgery with a heart transplant surgery on top of it, but he had a pacemaker, everything before that, and before that, he had what, a metal valve. He went through a lot, and first of all, he just turned 65 and he looks like 45. I want to say that.
Okay, here's the spiel.
But
Okay,
he's
he's known as Dan the Bionic Man Magnus, the only one to come back from an open heart surgery and win a ESPN kickboxing champion, not once but twice after 2 open heart surgeries. So he has no metal in his body now, and it's been 6 months since his heart transplant. He is also the Glow Girls bodyguard. And we all have put Dan through so much. I am surprised that he's still here. So he's a world champion kickboxer. So he kind of introduced me to that because I had no idea what the Bob bag was or what it does. So I think,
there you go.
Sonny can beat it up pretty well, can't you, Sonny?
I've had Mr. Bob with me for actually the truth, I would say 30 years. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Has it been around that long?
I can't talk about that side too much because there's a lot of things coming up with that side that, and Dan's going to be involved in it, by the way. But, and that's going to be April of next year. Oh no. And there's Bandit charging me right now. Okay.
Oh, how many run-ins are we going to get in this show?
We're getting all kinds of run-ins.
Oh, wait, there was another run-in.
Hold on one second.
Big bull mastiff.
Oh, I love bull mastiffs.
Come here.
Oh yeah, he weighs about 90 pounds now. He's a monster. Yeah, but I love him. He's
I got another run-in for you. Hold on.
Uh-oh.
Got a torso. Okay, so look in there.
Oh, there he is.
Oh.
There he is.
There. All right, bend down.
Hey, welcome to the show.
Hi, Dan.
Talking about this, and we were talking about your kickboxing, and you just had a heart transplant. A heart transplant 6 months ago. Show the abs,
Amazing.
Dan. Look. Wait. Oh, wait. You're going to see the scar. Look at that.
Oh, holy smokes.
Oh, wow. Nice.
Yeah.
Wait, that's
Good
a
job,
bullet
brother.
wound. That's a bullet wound. A whole nother show.
Woo!
That's another episode.
That's what you get when you're the bodyguard for the Glow Girls, I guess.
Wait, no, ask him if he'd take a bullet for the Glow Girls, and I think he would say, no way. No. Did you hear that?
No, we did not. What did he say?
He said I'd probably shoot them myself. Okay.
Oh, that's nice. I would have used them as human shields. But anyways.
Exactly.
It was a run-in. It was a run-in. You never know what's going to happen,
Excellent.
Sonny.
Well, Roxy, we were just talking about the band Kiss, and today's whole topic is about rock music and music general in professional wrestling, how important it's become. And earlier in the show, we talked about the genesis about that, about how, bands have how that became a thing in the early 80s. And now I think, could you imagine today if anyone walked out and there was no music? I'm not sure what people would do on a national platform. What kind of wrestler would walk out to nothing?
Honestly, like for Kiss, I was watching all that documentary thing. What was that, Sonny?
That was their Kiss documentary that was on
yeah,
A&E.
I was watching that, and it was like, wait, these guys, like, they are still getting out there with their heels, and like they still have their fans, and it sells out. And I'm like, that is so crazy. And then the younger generation, they still want to go see them, and it's like there's only one kid,
I know. Yeah. Just after 35 years, they want to see us as Glow, and now after Glow. Isn't that amazing? Yeah. After all these years.
Well, I think sometimes the root of these kind of things is nostalgia is important to people because it seems more and more today, a lot of things just aren't well thought out as much. Things aren't done on a higher level as things had been in the past. And so I think the reason why nostalgia works so much is because bands from the older days are much better than the bands of newer days. Glow Wrestling survived because it was something important and key and real at the time compared to some of the drivel we see today. So I think that's why a lot of people hold nostalgia so much in their hearts. Plus, we're also younger and a lot less jaded back then as we are today looking at stuff. So
yeah, I agree. I mean, I kind of think about like with Glow, if it would have gone on, you know, like WWE, I don't think it would have been as popular. I think they would have it would have been something turned into something totally different. I'm glad it ended at 4 seasons. It was a bummer earlier, right, Sonny? You left in the 3rd season? What? Or at the end of the 4th?
I was there to the end, just before it ended. Yeah.
But I actually left before some of the girls even went to Hawaii. I'm like, you guys went to Hawaii?
I know.
Remember that?
And-
I didn't go to Hawaii.
Right. Yeah.
And
Yeah, I didn't go. Matt wouldn't let me go anyway. I would be.
Come on.
No, he would. His thumb.
Did you go to
Okay.
Panama? He did.
Nope.
There. Okay,
No.
what did you do?
Stay at the Glow House. And I guess just stay at the Glow House. Woo! With the Russian guy, with Oleg. Oleg and I would sit and talk for hours. You know, he reached out to me. It's funny. Remember the Russian guy that he used to call Putz? The tall, big Russian guy.
He called a lot of them putzes.
He did. But the Russian guy, every time he flubbed up, boy, he used to cuss him out. But I'd sit there and talk to him when Matt would go on his meetings, you know, and stuff. But yeah, no, I didn't do any of it.
Now, because we partied after the matches. I was partying with Beastie and Daisy and doing everything I wasn't supposed to be doing and had a good time doing it. Oh, well, sorry. But now Sonny and I, we caught up. So we weren't as good as friends back then, but we are now since we're mature women. Not really.
Yes. Well, no, it's not even about that because some of the Glow girls I don't really care for, and they're all mature too. A little too immature though, but whatever. So you know,
I have to say this. Wait, hold on. You know what kind of shirt I have on? Talk about bands. Look at that.
Oh, Heart. Yes.
Nice.
How cool
I saw
is that?
Heart. So I saw Heart in 1986 in concert. One of the favorite concerts ever.
Okay,
Yeah.
I wouldn't fan out for anybody, but I would fan out for Heart.
Yeah.
Well, we went to see them, Rob. We saw them at the Hollywood Bowl, not the Palladium, the Bowl.
And I saw them with Lindsay.
I was there with Steve. We were there.
But we
I
were
was
there.
there with Steve.
Wasn't that great? See, now that's a band. I was on the treadmill today listening to Dog and Butterfly. I'm like, you don't get music like that anymore, you know?
No.
Dog,
No.
I don't know. Dog and
Like, who
Butterfly.
can sing Dog and a Butterfly and get away with it.
Yeah. You got to sing about barracudas. It's the only anyway. So I want to ask you girls then. Okay. First of all, let's talk a bit about. There was a wrestler, and I just want to know if you guys recall this dude. There was a wrestler who actually was like I think sponsored by Kiss or something like that, who was called the Demon, who wrestled for a short time in WCW. Elio, how long was that guy there? Maybe 2 years? Do you remember?
He was around the tail end of WCW 98, 99, 2000.
Right.
Yeah.
And his name was Dale Torberg, and he wrestled as the Demon, and he was endorsed by the band Kiss. Do you guys remember him at all?
Hold
Yeah.
on. I'm going to fan. You work for WCW. Hold on.
Okay. Patricia, do you remember?
I do. Yeah.
Okay, what do you remember about the Demon?
He came in, I think the Demon is in one of his
Dan said yes with Brian Adams.
Brian Adams?
Uh-huh.
with Brian
it-
Adams.
Oh, he came out with Brian Adams. Okay.
Okay.
But it was, isn't it? Okay, so do you remember, Patricia, seeing this guy, and what did you think of it? Did he have much of an impact in your opinion?
Not so much. I think Gene thought it was a good thing. It was cool at that time. And I think, like I said, he used him in his comic book. He is in one of his comic books. So,
Okay.
in a little story of wrestling. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
But the impact overall on Gene's life or his businesses or anything like that. No.
Mhm.
I thought it was cool.
Was Gina a wrestling fan? Do you know?
Not so much until he
What?
met me. He became a big,
I don't
Okay.
blame.
and
Okay,
I in a way, but I wasn't really a fan of his. I didn't really, he didn't impress me, and that's why he liked me, because I was the only one that stood up to him, and I looked up at him and I'm like, so what? You're Gene Simmons. And he just looked at me, goes, Miss Summerlin. I don't know what to say at this moment, but it's okay. I'll take that. Not impressed. Okay, not impressed with me. I like this girl, he said. and that's how he talks, because he's very, very, as a matter of fact, and this big voice comes out, and it was always Summerlin. I'm like, what did I do wrong next? You know, what? Oh my God. And you know what? He has his favorite jean shirts. He probably has like 200. That's my daughter in the background yelling at the dog. Sorry. Probably about 250 jean shirts, and same leather pants, probably about the same amount. That was his favorite. And it
I
still
bet.
is. Loves
Okay.
to wear.
Yeah, he
That's
still
his
looks good. He's
go-to.
rocking. Dan actually had to bodyguard his son, Gene's son, when his son turned I think, 1 or something. So he had to follow him around the clubs. And he said that Gene Simmons' son was probably the nicest kid, a gentleman. And he's like, what do you need a bodyguard for? This kid is great. So
yeah, he's very,
Excellent.
very sweet. And
Nice.
the daughter. Sophie's
Okay.
a little sweet, very tiny back then. So he would never bring his kids to the house. He did bring his son once, and his son, I think, was like 12 to my house. But that was it. The kids he would never bring over, you know, but he'd show up with the chocolate cake, and he would do, like he would make the balloons off his tongue for Shayna on her birthday. And Shayna was just amazed, like watching him do the balloons. Yeah, that's what he tells his daughters. His daughters, if Gene can make little balloons for his daughters, for Ruby, and I'm sorry, what's your other little daughter's name?
He had to step out as Presley, I believe.
Presley, that's it. To make balloons or something like that. That would be
That is-
cool. Maybe I can perform. But
It amazes me. Those two little girls are hardcore Kiss fans. Like, I mean, Andy has so many pictures of them posted up with them painting their faces they want to be, you know, different members of Kiss for Halloween and different things. And it's pretty cute.
I know that's
It's pretty cute.
cool.
yeah, I be in Vegas. They were gonna play there. Is that true, Sonny? They're gonna be on Vegas.
Yes,
They have
They
a
were-
resident.
they do. Yeah. So after all this, the end of the road tour, they're all going to do their own thing, and they do. You know, Gene does movies. He's a producer, director. He has his own comic book company. So his love, and his first love, is comic books. He's all about the comics. So, yeah, and a lot of people don't know that about him. He's like a little
No.
kid. No, oh no, he loves comics. He's a genius with
Okay.
it.
I'm glad you brought up movies. Sorry.
Yes.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
There's a
You go
lot
ahead,
of his
it's-
with gosh, what's his name? But I can't even remember his name. That's terrible. And I dated him, but that's many years ago.
Yeah.
I know. I can't even
I feel you, sister.
today was a good show, Roxy. I had good news, so I'm happy about that.
I know. I'm like so happy about
Wait,
that.
Yeah, that's why I'm gonna go. Like I'm gonna go.
That's why I joined
No.
you. It'll be our last
Yeah.
Los Angeles together interview in a long time.
I
So,
know.
right.
No, we're
Okay.
gonna have
Tucker's
And-
very sad.
Aw, Tucker. He's so cute. Oh my God, he
Very
doesn't
cute.
shake. He's so calm. He's very calm. Did
No, I
amazing work.
Home, and he was stuck in the closet standing straight up. So no, he's not.
Oh no. Oh, no.
That one.
I sorry, you guys brought up a question, or not a question, but a topic about Gene Simmons in movies, right? And for me, as a teenager, one of my all-time favorite movies, and I can't think of the name of it, but it's the one with Tom Selleck as this good guy cop, and Gene Simmons as this terrorist building like robot spiders.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah, he plays such a good.
Anyone know that one?
I'm going to the Google machine as we speak.
Yes.
Oh, there you are.
Hey, it'll bother.
There's my big strong man. This guy, I mean, what? How much do you lift?
Which lift are we talking about?
All that weight, all the barbells that you just power lift, like it's nothing. I'm like, look.
You were too kind. Some of my deadlifts are like anywhere from like 500 to 600 pounds. And then I do like the get-ups where I lay down on the ground with the weight. And those ones, I recently hit 100 pounds. So it's like one arm, 100 pounds. And yeah, so that's thank you.
I
actually before we started the show, Ruby and I were out, and like about two or 3 weeks ago, we found a Kiss shirt. I think Patricia, I sent you the picture because it was with the demon on the front, and Ruby's like, "Oh, you have to get it." And it's still a bit warm right now, so that's why I'm not wearing, because it's like a long sleeve shirt. But we were at the store, and there was another one there, and I'm like, you know what? She's like, "Oh, Daddy," she's like, "You should buy another one." I'm like, "Well, you know what? I'll buy another one. I'm going to chop the sleeves off, and I'm going to make it a gym shirt." So tomorrow, in honor of our show tonight, I am going to wear I'll have a demon shirt for the gym.
Oh, that's
awesome.
So, that's very cool.
I like your shirt.
And I'll have you go. Oh, sorry.
His be loose in the news. I like that one.
Absolutely. They were here several years ago. It was a very basic shirt, but it's one of my all-time favorites. And it's a shame that he's going through with his hearing and everything now that they can't really perform, because it's one of the best. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait,
that's
with him. He can't hear.
I think that's what it was. Is there was issues with his hearing? So because of the issues with his hearing, he can't sing. So I think, from what I recall seeing, is that they were kind of done recording and they were done touring.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's sad.
It is.
Well,
yeah.
Aww. Yeah.
And I was going to try and press you guys by telling you I lifted 2 slices of pizza today instead of just one. And
you know what?
More than just cheese.
Or taco. It was Taco Monday for me, not Taco Tuesday.
Any day is a good taco day. But to get us back on topic, the movie you were referring to was 1984's Runaway.
Runaway, yes.
Yeah.
God, back
wow.
Scary, huh?
Now you talked about
Kirstie Alley was in it too.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a great movie. I still remember it, man. But Patricia, has Gene talked? He said he likes comics a lot. Does he really enjoy doing acting a lot?
Yes, he loves acting. He loves anything he's more of a creator, though. He said those movies were great, but his thing is he creates. Such an artist. Like, he's just really, he'll sit there and create a story in his mind. I would sit there with him when I was on tour in San Bernardino, right? We're sitting on the couch. All of a sudden he's telling me about this comic book randomly, just telling me the whole story. And I go, wow, Gene, is that going to be one of your future comic books? He goes, yes, I think I might like this one. Just like that. Just brilliant. I mean, the guy's a scientist, he's so smart. And I was never intimidated. Well, I guess I was. That's a lie, because I really was, but I didn't show him that I was.
Intimidated. You were intimidated.
And it's funny, when he came over one time, it was funny. Shayna was it Shayna or Jennifer? Maybe both the girls. He came into my garage in North Hollywood, and he had his Range Rover, right? He still likes he has his black Range Rovers. That's what he has. And he has today, like 3 of them in the driveway. So he has his black Range Rover, and he goes in my driveway, and it goes down into the garage with the electric gate. So when he leaves my house, he had an appointment. He was so stressed, like he had to get there. He gets in his Range Rover. He backs it up. The top of his Range Rover roof got stuck on the gate. There's like a hinge or whatever, pulled his off the Rover, and falls to the ground. And we're like, wait, Gigi, look. He just like took the heck off. He didn't care. He was in such a hurry. And I'm like, I guess I'll hold on to this. Maybe you might need it. I called him, right? And I go, Gene. He goes, I don't care. He goes, that's all right. Just go ahead and throw it away, Patricia. I'm like, okay, fine.
And I would have kept it forever.
Yeah. You can put that on eBay or something.
I was just gonna say, sell it on eBay.
No.
Do you mind signing?
Paul Stanley's guitar. My daughter Jennifer actually has Paul Stanley's guitar, the whole one. I have a half a piece of his guitar at one of the concerts, and that's what was stolen in the robbery in the marina. So I lost all that. Yeah, including the history book, and I was honored to be in Gene's original, not just what's sold there on the site, but Gene Simmons handed me his original history book, the first one made, the long one, it's that big edition, in a leather casing. And he says, he goes, you're in this. I go, what do you mean I'm in this? He did a whole story. And I was so humbled and grateful. And I had tears in my eyes. And I'm like, Gene, you're going to give me your edition? And I had that. And that was stolen too, along with a lot of the Playboy stuff like that from the marina.
Oh,
yeah,
that's
heartbroken. I was, yeah. In fact, I have some of those pictures. It's somewhere on Facebook with me and my best friend, Susan Branham from Kentucky, the coal miner's daughter, the blonde. She was in the picture and the kids were little. Shayna was little, sitting on the bed, and you look at it, you'll see the guitar. I have all this stuff in place on the picture on that, on the Facebook, in fact, somewhere on Facebook, and you'll see it all. But that was all stolen. I was so
none
mad.
of that was ever recovered?
No. I sent a couple of Israelis to the girl to, shut her up a bit because I know who did it.
Oh,
she was
that's even worse.
Yeah,
she was Brazilian. I tried to help her get into Playboy. She was Brazilian. It's when I lived in the marina, and she had a little daughter that was the same age as my daughter, and they became friends. So we became friends as moms, and she wanted to be in Playboy. She was pretty Brazilian. I said, I'll help you get into Playboy. And I ended up subletting her apartment. Well, that was a mistake. And paying her, she took the rent, didn't turn it into the apartment on top of it, but ended up breaking in with suitcases and taking a lot of my stuff. So I sent her Israeli to harass her.
Wow.
And the guy comes back and he goes, what do you want me to do? I go, well, I don't want you to kill her, because the guys didn't mess around. These guys that I sent, I can't have that on my head. And he goes, she denied it. She was in tears. I go, I know she did. So I just had to write it off. Maybe after
I have to ask
Who
if
knows?
anybody remembers this. And Sonny, tell me if you remember this. Do you remember the Phil Donahue show?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, Dan showed me something yesterday that I never knew would happen. There was a guy who was posing as, who was it? Who's the guys in the band? Chris?
Paul Stanley,
No.
Peter Chris.
Yes, him. Yes, he was posing as him, and he was living off this girl. And so Donahue had this imposter of Peter Chris.
No.
And then all of a sudden, you got to Google this because I got into the story.
Oh, that's
All
funny.
They bring Peter Chris on.
Oh.
Imposter. And then they start, and the girl is still saying, no, I dated you. And he goes, well, there's my wife. So I doubt it. And she stuck to her story. But I just saw that yesterday. That's why this is so fun. But there is a whole show on it. You got to watch it.
It was 30 years ago this past February. A homeless imposter claimed to be the former Kiss drummer.
Uh-huh.
Oh my
Nice.
Yep.
crazy.
Okay.
Wow.
That is crazy. So I got a question here, and maybe this might have been even Andy and Elliot could have answered it. But when you were referring early to members of KISS, you mentioned somebody's name and said that he is now Ace Frehley. What did you mean by that?
Well, that's Tommy Thayer band. See, Ace and Peter are no longer with the band. They left the band probably now. It's going 10 years.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Oh, so somebody else replaced
Tommy,
their character
yeah.
then.
Yeah. Tommy Thayer was
Okay.
Black and Blue. And then they have Eric Singer. They used to have Carr, who we know was probably one of the best. drumming. I mean, not to put Peter, because Peter Chris was amazing.
They're all awesome. If you're going to be in Kiss, you have to be
They're
amazing.
awesome. Every single one. Yeah. And Tommy Thayer kills it as Ace Frehley, by the way. So I've known Tommy for 30 years. He's my fellow Scorpion. He casted the issue, like I said, of Playboy, and was so cool. And like, he never perved out once. He was so like, I'm like, look at you. Most guys sitting there looking at all these playmates would flip out. He was so calm and just, and I go, what do you think, Tommy? What about her? Because I was teasing him. I had the final say so. He goes, Sonny, what do you think? Or Patricia, he goes, what do you think? And I go, like, yeah, she's beautiful. But maybe we ought to pass her on to Marilyn, which is Marilyn Grabowski, who has the final say so. She was the boss. Playboy. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I guess I didn't understand that part about somebody replacing them. How long ago did that happen exactly?
It's been about 10 years, I'd have to say. Yeah. I don't know quite how long, but it's been a while now. They've had a dispute back then. Now, from what I understand, they're good, but there's some hard feelings there. I'm just going to say,
So if I even to give you like a Reader's Digest version, so we had the original Kiss members, and then there was the problems with Ace and Peter, and then when they tried to bring in new members, instead of having like the Spaceman and the Catman, they tried to bring in because it was like the Ankh or whatever, and then the Fox. I think it was that.
Yeah.
And it just totally, like, the vibe wasn't there. I mean, it was Kiss, but it wasn't Kiss. So it was kind of like, rather than, which, I mean, I think it's commendable, admirable at first, because it's like, you're not trying to treat the fans as stupid. It's like, look, these aren't the same guys, so we're going to give them different characters, but just the chemistry, just everything about the band was off. So it's like, look, like, you're going to have to be the Spaceman. You're going to have to be the Catman. And at the end, I don't want this to sound callous, but nobody really cared. They were just happy. It was like, that's Kiss. It's the
so
demon.
I guess you could have explained this more clearly to me, like Mexican wrestling. Then you got rid of so and so under the mask, and you just put another guy on the mask, and people know it's not the same guy, but they love that character, so they're going to stick and be invested with that.
I could have even gone and said Batman, like it's like you had Christian Bale, you had Michael Keaton. It's the same character, and that's just for Kiss transcending just music simply. So it's that suspension of disbelief that it's like, okay, like all you need to know is that's the Spaceman, that's the Catman, that's the demon, and that that's Kiss.
And you know what?
One
it doesn't. The true fans still don't like the fact that Tommy Thayer is Ace, and they still don't like the fact that Peter Criss isn't the drummer that Eric is.
Right.
There is hardcore, dedicated fans that aren't happy with those four. I think they sound great.
I just have a quick story before I have to go. And I want to really recommend this, since you guys are talking about bands and kind of like what you were saying, replacement. I just saw the Leonard Skinner documentary.
Ooh.
And everything you're saying is exactly how it was. One of the best documentaries I've seen. It shows them from the beginning as friends and how they replaced. And as you know, at the final, they're still touring, but they have the brother who passed away, the lead singer, in there. And the fans are loving it. So it's like, as long as I think as you still have some of the members and you still have that sound, I think the fans are okay with it. But I recommend you got to watch the documentary.
Is that the newer one that was just released recently? Okay, I haven't seen that one, so I know. Yeah. Okay.
I've seen it is so good. But Sonny, I have to go.
Everyone,
hi, and I love you, and I'm happy for your news. And Sonny,
I know.
I'm like, woohoo! I'm partying inside, partying outside. Okay.
Party with Bob.
Great things about you, so I wanted to come and say hi to you guys. So
we appreciate you coming on.
We thank you, and we hope we'll get you on another time sometime and talk about some other stuff and
afterglow and things.
Absolutely.
But kiss away, okay?
Well, thank you, Roxy, and we appreciate it. Have a great night.
Yeah, take care.
Thank you.
Bye, Rox. Love you.
She's trying. There we go.
Well, fans, that was a run-in from Glow Original Roxy Astor. That was fun to see. So
anything can happen on our show.
Yes. Yeah. Elio might say more than 6 words in a row.
Whoa.
Okay, I'm getting carried away. I'm sorry. Sorry, guys.
Let's try and keep a little bit of realism.
I'm banking the words.
He's going to be counting every word.
But you know what?
But
To what Patricia was saying, though, you know, like about diehards, again, like whether that's like Skinner, I mean, that could be like anything, right? Like you get those that are the purest. You can say, I mean, I use the Batman analogy. You could, people are going to say Adam West, the only Batman, or like Michael Keaton, the only Batman. No, but seriously though, you know what I mean? Like Jack Nicholson, that's the Joker. Cesar Romero, James Bond, same thing. Yeah,
I love it. Yeah.
So what do you think though? Then what is the key then? Is the key honestly retaining a little something of like? Do you need to have at least one member of the original band to make this work?
Well, it's like ZZ Top, for instance. They just lost to me the best. So they're going out on tour, and I'm like, how's that going to work? So right? Because that was a heavy. When you have only three people in a band, and you lose one of them, that's a toughie, or two.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Okay.
But people are still going to go because they're curious. They want to know, is it going to sound the same? But no, they're going to be judgmental because the following, you can't top the top, if that makes sense. You just can't.
Yes.
You know? And those guys are old school. It's like Rolling Stones. Can you replace Mick Jagger? No.
Yeah.
No. You know, that's just not going to happen.
Can you replace Keith Richards? No, because he's going to outlive us all. So, like, no, he's going to outlive us all. You're never going to replace Keith Richards.
Right.
Well, the only then the band, I'm sorry, I got to throw this out there. The only band then that very much confuses me, and I bitch about this all the time, is there's not one single member of the original AC/DC at all. And they're still touring at $200 a ticket with it. I don't get that one, and people are still buying it. So I don't know what to say about that.
Because that's one of the best bands too. I mean, you know, again, I guess they love it so much they can't accept the fact that they would just go away. So they're going to accept what they have right now, even though it's not the original. But they walk away and go, "Oh God, that didn't sound like the original." But hey, whatever. I don't know. You know. Yeah.
I still think I'd rather pay $20 for an AC/DC cover band than $200 to see Axl Rose pretending he's AC/DC. But well, that just teaches his own choice, right?
Right, exactly.
So, Patricia, obviously, you know, the beginning of this episode, we talked a lot about rock and roll in wrestling. How important do you think rock and roll is in wrestling?
I mean, we didn't really have rock and roll music. We were 80s, and I think there was a couple of characters that were kind of rock and rollish, but I mean, you know, nowadays, you have the Rock and Roll Express back then too, of course, don't forget. The rock,
maybe not just rock and roll, but like music to wrestling.
Yeah.
I think it is. I think music in general for wrestling is good. You know, it defines the characters as it did with us, obviously. Mine was I Wish They All Could Be California Girls, David Lee Roth. So, I mean, I think you have to have music with the character. I think it's essential. Yeah.
Okay.
Sometimes it's better than the character.
Yeah.
I'm just...
No, true.
It's true. There are, I'm sure we could list probably dozens of wrestlers who had better music than they were actual wrestlers, whose entrances were so good. Yeah. And then when they got there, that you were kind of like, oh, the entrance was great.
Started off great and then just kind of.
Yeah, exactly.
I think one of my best examples is, I don't know if you guys remember this, because I did not get NWA wrestling a lot. I used to get these advertisements, and the advertisement for the Starcade with Dusty and winning the $1 million, whatever, they had a commercial on there where they used Willie and the Hand Jive as and parts of the wrestling going on. And I got to tell you, I was mesmerized by that. I'd never really seen somebody put a video together of a song that wasn't that old with wrestling going on. Yeah. And I mean, we may cringe about it now, but with Cyndi Lauper and Wendy Richter, that was a massive thing at the time.
Well, and even before that, I mean, we've talked previous episodes, the Road Warriors using Iron Man. You know, it's that to me, like, and I've told the story before, I'll tell it really quick now. As a youngster growing up in Winnipeg, Manitoba, and you know, AWA coming to town, my mom took myself and a few of our friends, so whatever we were, like 6, 7, 8 years old, and this was the first time the Road Warriors had come to Winnipeg, and nobody else was really using entrance music. So you get the opening, the guitar strains of Iron Man, and my mom says even to this day she'll still tell the story of like the electricity that went through the Winnipeg arena, and just like she said, like it was crazy. It was just so intense, and there was even like an older man there or something actually had a heart attack during the entrance.
Wow.
Wow.
So it's and
it's a scene,
and it is, especially when it's so new, and you think, even for sports where for like hockey, football, baseball, like back in the 80s, like none of them really had the music going on. Like we didn't have like the sports anthems and like we do now, but wrestling did it first, and then everybody else picked up.
True.
Right.
And I to this day, sorry, go ahead, Sonny.
It is. I mean, music is used in so many things. So you've got TV, you've got, promos, you've got this. Wrestling, it's part of a character's gimmick. So, I think it's always going to be a good thing. And music never dies. That's my go-to. It de-stresses me. I get in the car and blast the music, and God knows I've had some of that stress. Now it's gone because today I was relieved of that my cancer is fine.
Good news.
Thank God,
Yes.
So yeah.
Did you want to say out that news? Just, I know you're very happy about it. It's been touched on.
Yeah, well, hands back and CA. So the CA is cancer of the blood. So my CA was clear. So that's good. The spot on my right lung is stable. So that means it's still the same size and it's benign. And the nodules that I'm dealing with for a while now, my thyroid, because I have Hashimoto's disease. And so that's a low autoimmune disease. And what that is the nodules here in your thyroid when you swallow, everybody has them. But anyway, they were growing, so they thought they were cancerous. So now that is benign. They're stabilized.
Nice. Well, congratulations. Yay. Yes.
Thank you.
You've always been one of our favorite guests that we've had on the show. So that makes us all very happy to hear that. So congratulations, Patricia.
So
definitely.
And now I'm going to
Bill,
I should say. Yeah.
What I was going to say is, and I always stand by this when it comes to theme music. I will fist fight, literally, I'll fist fight your granny if she disagrees with me. But the Road Warriors and Iron Man was the greatest entrance music ever. And I will fist fight Triple H if he wants to argue about this. I'll punch him in the heart. I heard he had heart surgery. I'll punch him in the effing heart if he wants to fight with me. But so all you people who've hated me over the years, by all means, come down to my house and challenge me. And this will fuel me to fight. So what a horrible guest I can, or a horrible host I can be at times.
We talked about entrance music, and I mean, Patricia's mentioning like part of the gimmick, but I think even to kind of go back to something that you mentioned, that also I think has been, maybe not as much nowadays, but there was definitely a period of time where even kind of like the montage, like the music videos, whether and again, sticking with our earlier kind of AWA days, the fabulous ones, Sharp Dressed Band, right? Like they come in, it's like, and you're saying it's like, oh, are they a rock band? Are they wrestlers? Like, who are these guys? It's, you have that, or for I remember seeing some of the USWA stuff and some of the packages they put together for like Brian Christopher and Lawler. I mean, just the use of the music, and that's some of the stuff that sticks out. Like for me, they did one. I mean, I don't remember the year, so it would have been like late 90s, but a Brian Christopher music video to Everything I Hate About You.
Okay.
Ugly Kid Joe. And to this day, every time I hear that song, that's one of the things I think of is like, oh yeah, well, that was a Brian Christopher video, and he was just being a dick through the whole video, but the music sticks.
Right.
Just to tell you, just to give you fans really an example of how that really can stick in. Andy brought up the best one. I mean, the fabulous ones, Sharp Dressed Man. If you watch that video today, now when you watched it back then, it was like you were excited. Who are these guys? Just like Andy said, right? Looking back today, you've got this questionable video with a lot of homoerotic overtones. You're going to have to say.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
With two with two middle-aged men acting like they're teenage role models. It's almost laughable now, but at the time, it really caught that imagination. So I'm going to give it that.
Yeah.
At times now, I watch it a little bit and cringe, and I'm like, man, that guy looks like he could be my grandfather.
But even at WWE, I mean, they're one of the best for doing it too. I mean, there's times where, especially during the Attitude Era and around there, another one again. I'm just because it sticks out for me. They used Kid Rock's "Lonely Road to Faith." That was like, and to me, like that's still one of the best ones. And again, it's we talk about wrestling and emotional connection, the involvement, the hook. And it's one thing for wrestling to do that, whether it's a story or a character. But Patricia was talking about how it can be like stress release, it can be therapy. But music is something that binds us and connects us. And I think that in a way, it's awesome that we have Spotify, we have Sirius XM, we have all literally thousands of channels for every type and taste of music. But at the same time, it's also diversifying us even more because now you don't see those videos as much, or it's like if you see them, it's like, well, I don't know who this group is, I don't know who this band is, it doesn't hook me. Whereas I have my personal kind of wedding music theory is that you go to a wedding, and if you play music from kind of like mid 90s back, you will always get lots of people on the dance floor, just because, I mean, at this point in 2021, just for the age groups and for everything that we've been through for the past 40, 50 years of music, there's a lot of common ground there. You'll get the people that are in their 20s that'll be like, okay, well, I know Macarena, I know Cadillac Ranch, I know, these songs, and the chicken dance. Yeah. YMCA, and it's like, okay, yeah, we can be silly, we'll get involved.
Boys to Men, that's what I want. Was it boys?
Yeah, Motown Philly, and what's the other one? There's something with Yesterday. I forget what the song is. Something.
Married to George Strait in Knoxville, Tennessee, because George is my buddy.
Well, there you go. Let's do that. It's just that kind of thing. So if you're playing music, if you're trying to play some of the hits from the last 20 years. You're going to get a small, the young group, small pocket of people, but most people don't know because it's not just, we have top 40, we have country, we have rock, we have heavy metal. Now we've got,
we have TikTok radio. Don't forget. So I mean, today,
15-second songs.
And I'm like, wait a minute, some of these guys are pretty darn good. These are new talent. This is off TikTok.
Well,
no,
I'm going to. Okay, I want to ask a question then to Elio, and then I want to ask it to Patricia. Okay, I'm giving you a chance to think about this, Patricia. Now, Andy just said a song that popped in his mind very vividly of a WWF using a song and a wrestler to a great extent. Elio, do you have one that resonates with you the most of all the? And I'm going to ask that same question to you, Patricia. So I'm going to let you think that one through. Is there a song and wrestler combo video thing they did that really resonated with you and still kind of does?
To me, there's not one specific. Like I remember a lot of them, they used Creed for when they would do the promos. Yeah. During the Attitude Era. I can't think of the song they had. There was the Three Doors Down when they did
they did My Sacrifice. There was My Sacrifice.
My Sacrifice. That's the one I was thinking about. Yeah. And they did the Eddie Guerrero one using Three Doors Down.
That's the one I was gonna say. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's I think
I want to laugh about my pick. Sorry. I'm having problems with mic hearing right now. It seems like Patricia's mic has been cutting in and out. I don't know if you guys are hearing that on my side, but so I'm having a hard time figuring out when when you finish talking because sometimes it cuts in and out.
Just be a jerk and just talk whenever, and we'll just
talk over her. I hate doing that. I hate doing that. Not to guests I like. I don't mind to you two dicks, but anyhow. I laugh because it was very effective during the Attitude Era, and for me, I feel ridiculous because it's a wrestler I've said many times that I'm not the biggest fan of, and it's a band I don't really like, but the best package for me that they put together was the Steve Austin Limp Bizkit My Way thing before he took on, I think it was maybe Triple H.
No, that was
no,
the
Triple H?
Rock. The Rock.
Was the Rock?
17.
And he was doing the song My Way, and it was like,
Yep.
Yeah.
what a great song to mix with that character and the story.
Yeah.
Even though I didn't like any of those two things together, it was gold. We need Rick to pop up going, it was gold, Jerry. But
Well, yeah. But even and because you're talking about Steve Austin, but even with Austin Undertaker for SummerSlam when they had the Highway to Hell,
Yep.
you know,
okay.
on the ACDC, like it's
Yeah,
there's
the hell. There's a lot. It's good. It intertwines. Yeah.
Now,
I think
the
looks
big
7:00. I have to cut it.
All right.
Yeah, I should have been.
That's cool. We're
There you
just
go.
glad to have you on. You know, like
And fun.
and I know you told me about your upcoming doctor's appointment, and I got to admit it was in the back of my mind, sticking a little bit.
Oh, that was
so
great. Well, and
yeah.
so. But what you guys need to stay tuned for is my radio show and many other
Yes.
things.
Ooh.
It will be on Sirius XM as we speak, starting October 1st, and it's called
Nice.
Mouthing All Over the World, which I do so well. So
Excellent.
Can I ask you one more quick thing before you go? I always do this, and I'm going to go on. You were just at the cauliflower. Were you just not at the Cauliflower Alley Club reunion?
I was
Did you go?
not there. I did
No?
not
Oh,
go.
you didn't go. Oh, we thought you were
we thought
going.
we thought you
Sorry.
went. Yeah.
Oh, no, did not go. I canceled a lot of things per my
Oh.
oncologist.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Just for-
okay.
But I just did get back from a great Comic-Con.
Right.
That was my first one back with a dear friend of mine, Tom Sizemore, and some other stars. And we had a great time. It was a
Excellent.
lot of fun. Yeah.
Okay. What was
Yeah, but
your
I
question,
never-
Andy?
Oh no! I was going to ask her to talk about the Cauliflower Alley Club because I remember
Oh.
seeing her posting about the Comic-Con she was at.
Comic-Con.
But I thought I thought we said something about her being at Cauliflower Alley Club, and so that's why I was thinking, oh, let's talk about that for 30 seconds and just. But
Yeah.
Well,
Oh, I didn't get a chance to go, but I will be there next year in April for sure.
okay.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, you know what? We want to thank you for coming on again. It's always fun having you on. We know, we're going to, I don't know if we're going to bug you just because we want to hear wrestling or just to hear your voice, to be honest.
well, we got to get the
Very
afterglow with her and Roxy. We'll get an afterglow episode.
Yeah, gotta get
We'll talk
and
deep
we'll-
about that and find out what that's all about and really get into that. So
Yeah.
thanks a lot, Patricia. We really enjoyed
Yeah.
having you on the show this week.
Pleasure always, guys. I love you guys.
Oh,
Thank you very much. You have a great night, Patricia, and we will see you next time.
Yes.
take
And
care.
Sunny
Stay healthy.
smiles, everybody. Bye, guys.
Bye-bye. And you
Bye,
know what?
bye.
We're gonna
Cut this off. There we go. Wait,
Then we're gonna wrap
it's
up-
not off yet.
Hey, she's
It's another
back.
run in. Well, you know what? We're going to wrap up the show now, and we've talked a lot about wrestling. We talked a bit in the beginning of the show about the roots of this, and if you have some wrestling themes that you think we really missed that we should have talked about, something that you thought was a pretty damn cool wrestling mix with music, tell us. We'll talk about it. Tell us why you liked it. Tell us what was cool. What did we miss? Tell me how great my picks were, how shitty Andy's were. We'll I like how I do that, because I get to do the gamble. Anyhow, folks, we want to thank you guys for tuning in. Elio, always a pleasure to see you. Andy, always good to see you. You know what?
Pleasure was all yours.
Who did the wrap up last time on the corner?
I think
Show?
I
can't
did,
remember.
didn't I?
Did you? I cannot remember. All right, then let's go with Elio. Elio, wrap us up today, a la Stampede Wrestling.
In the meantime and in between time, that's it. Another episode of Quarantine. Bye for now.